Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. Just leave me for somebody else. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. Just leave me for somebody else. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself.
Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be my riding story video, as some of you requested that on my Instagram story when I put up some YouTube ideas. So it will go right back from when I was around 4 when I started riding, all the way up to me and McCoy now. So yeah, hope you enjoy. So I first started riding when I was 4, and I started riding at a riding school, and I just have one lesson a week for 15 minutes. And then I did that for a few years, and then after that I went to another riding school and I started having weekly riding lessons. And this was a little pony that I used to love called Eric, and I would love him. I would always be up the yard, my old yard, which is where I first bought McCoy and my old pony Pablo, and I'd always be up there grooming them, up there as long as I could. And this was Squeak. I absolutely love Squeak. And then I did that for a couple of years, and then after a few years we started learning a little pony called Magic, which he was absolutely adorable. I went to see him last year, and I'm hopefully going to see him this summer again. He's about 18 now. He is a little Welsh, and I did my first pony club camp on him. He taught me so much. He was absolutely amazing. And here's some more pictures of him. I hope you can see that. He was so sweet. It's absolutely amazing. And then after that, I sadly had to stop loaning him. So when I stopped loaning him, I went back to my old riding school, and that's when I started doing some more competitions. And this was a little pony called Munchkin, who is still alive today. He's quite old now. And then, yeah, I started doing competitions, and there's a little me winning some rosettes, which I was very happy about. And then I started loaning after Magic, I started loaning a pony at my old yard called Todd, who we didn't really get on very well together, and so I loaned him for a couple months. And then I started loaning a pony called Pebbles. I was loaning a little pony called Pebbles, who was very naughty but very sweet as well. Here's some more pictures of me and him there. And I broke my arm on him because he would stop right after jumps, which wasn't ideal because, as you guys know, I'm a show jumper and I absolutely loved to jump back then. So yeah, and then after that we decided, right, we're not meant to be. And then this pony called Pablo came along at my yard, and he was really naughty, so like everyone would fall off him all the time. So I first rode him there, and that's when I first started to ride him. And yeah, and then soon after I started loaning him for a bit, and then I was loaning him, and then once I loaned him we realised that it wasn't really working. So I loaned a little pony, before I loaned Pablo, I loaned a little pony called Betty, who was about 5 at the time. So I did lots of in hand because I only did loads of showing of her. So I loaned her for a few months. And yeah, I did that, and the plan was that she'd just been back, so I was about 8 at the time, 9 at the time. So I started doing that, obviously with her owner, because I would not have known how to back her myself. And then, yeah, I loaned Pablo, but he was starting being really naughty, and obviously back then I didn't really know how to sit a pony. So I started loaning a pony called Polo. And then for a couple months I just went back to lessons because I stopped loaning Polo and I was basically ponyless for a bit. And then what happened was, because Pablo was so naughty, the owner of the yard, our old yard, was going to send Pablo back to Ireland, which is where the owner of my old yard gets all her horses and ponies from. But she knew that we loved him, and she knew that me and my mum loved him. So she came up to my mum and my dad. My dad's not horsey, so that's why. And she said that we're sending him back to Ireland tomorrow. Would you like to buy him? And my parents said yes, they would. And we never ever intended to buy ponies, ever intended to buy a pony. And to be honest, I wouldn't even be where I was today if I didn't take up the loan of Todd, which I mentioned back in the video. I didn't want to loan him, but the owner of our old yard said, you can have it a bit cheaper. Do you want to loan Todd? Because obviously, I don't know, she must have saw something in me, I don't know. I didn't want to because obviously we didn't get on, because I liked the Wizzy ponies, he wasn't very Wizzy. If you're going to take a chance, and if I didn't, then I wouldn't be where I am now. So yeah, we bought Pablo. I didn't believe that we had bought him when my parents told him, and the owner was there. I thought they were joking. But yeah, no, we bought him. And yeah, and I was about 10 when we bought him. So yeah, and then I started competing him at my old yard because I had competitions. And yeah. And then we started to progress lots. I had him for 2 years, and honestly he was the best. Well, he wasn't the best little pony, he was amazing. He really did teach me loads. He was so naughty, he would bark, rear, stop, all of it, bulk. So he did teach me a lot, and there's more little me's. But he really did teach me a lot, and this was my first pony club camp on Pablo. I joined the same pony club that I did with Magic, and it was loads of fun, so much fun. And yeah, and that's some more of us, and that's quite a cute picture when I jumped in bareback, and I used to think I was jumping super duper high, which for back then it was quite high. And then I started to progress more, and we bought a little trailer, and I started going out. And we knew Pablo used to stop loads. Here's a picture. We knew Pablo used to stop loads, so I started going out, and he would be even worse than he was up my yard. He hated new jumps, which was just such a shame, because I knew he jumped so high. I think the highest jump we jumped was 1.10 meters, and he was only 12.2, so that's a pretty big jump for a 12.2. And I knew if he would have been good, I wouldn't have affiliated him then, probably, because I wasn't like ready, I guess, or like I didn't want to do that. But if he was good, he probably could have done all like the 12.2 classes, like stepping stones, which is such a shame. So we started stopping. He was being even more naughty, which is very sad. So then we realised this isn't fun, so we just kept it back at my old yard and competed at their shows. So this is near the end of my time owning him, and we really did progress a lot, and my riding did get a lot better from when I first started. Here's another picture from one of the dressage shows. He was a really good all-rounder, and apparently in Ireland Pablo had got 100 BS points in Ireland, but I don't really believe that because he really did not like going out. So, and then here's a picture in 2015, which I can't believe how long ago that was, because I can still remember every bit of that day. It was such a good day. I won a trophy that day, and it was amazing. And you can see there he did a right flyer, and then I lost my reins there, which was quite fun. And yeah, and then I think this was 2017. I first, and then Pony Mag came to my yard for the liveries to do a photo shoot. So I was in Pony Mag a couple of times with Pablo. Here's another one. And also for that as well, for the boots, which was really cool. I loved that, doing that. And then after that, it was coming to the end of my time with Pablo because I wasn't going to progress any further. I was growing out of him because he was 12.2. And then McCoy came to our yard and I saw him. And as soon as I saw him, I just fell in love with him. I had to beg and beg and beg my parents. And my mum knew, she told me later, that I was meant for him. And yeah, I guess the rest is history with me and McCoy, sorry. I was 12 when I bought him, and yeah, I knew he was good because he had recently jumped out the arena, which was like 120, so he was really good. And then we got him, and obviously we are not where we were today. This was my first show on him. We came first in the 60 and fourth in the 70, which I was absolutely over the moon with, because with Pablo I would get nowhere. He would stop like 10 strides out, so yeah. And then we just started to progress, me and McCoy, and that's another picture. That was our first 80, which I thought was absolutely huge. Then here's another picture at Coomlands. I think we came, can't remember where we came, I think we came fourth. And then, yeah, so, and then we started to progress with that. And then I thought I'll put this in because this is quite funny. I did the worst jump off line you could ever imagine, but McCoy, being so honest and amazing that he is, he had to jump it like that from standstill, and I flew. I did stay on luckily, but it was quite annoying. And then we had him, and then the second winter I had him about a year, I think. He had a sarcoid, and yeah, we just progressed from that. And then at Coomans, I think it was, that picture I just showed you, we qualified for Sunshine Tour and we won out of about 70 people, and it was only 75, but for me back then that was huge. So that was a really big achievement for me, because obviously from Pablo I'd always want to win a sash and all that. So yeah, and I spent that summer just having fun with McCoy. I did a bit of showing, working hunter as well. So yeah, we were just having fun. And then in the winter, McCoy had a sarcoid, so we decided to get that removed. And then, so yeah, and then, so he was out for a couple of months, and because my dad was a riding school, I was riding this this horse called Monty while he was healing from a sarcoid. And yeah, he was 5, and that was when we jumped to meter 15 in the pre-sons. And it was really good for me to ride on a younger horse, because it's going from a pony like McCoy, who's pretty much already schooled, I guess you could say, to a pony that's really unbalanced and all of that. So that was really good for me. And then we got McCoy fit again, and here's some pictures of us at Failbridge when we got McCoy fit again. And yeah, and soon after that, we went affiliated. And here's a picture at Hkw of our first affiliated. We came 4th and 4th, which was obviously another huge big achievement for me. And obviously back then I had no idea what any of the classes means with affiliated, so I was definitely still learning with all of that. And then a couple of months after that, McCoy went lame, sadly, for the summer, because he had torn a tendon. Well, it was really, really small, luckily, but at my old yard, McCoy had escaped his field into a field of loads of grass, and he had put on about 40 kilograms in one day, so he was literally obese, so that was not good. So they wouldn't let us move him to a little smaller field, so we put a muzzle on him, and he got his muzzle off. And we knew it wasn't from jumping, because he had also torn his sarcoid scar open as well, so that was not good. So we had to have a couple of months off, and then it was a very long process of walking him for weeks, trotting him for weeks, cantering him for weeks. So that was last summer, I had to sadly miss out on Nationals and Festival of Scope, which I was absolutely devastated about, and I think that was when I really learned that I really have to look after McCoy's legs, which is why after every time I jump him now, I ice his legs, and I make sure, hopefully, touch wood, that nothing bad will happen to his legs, because I'm very careful about that. So we started slowly getting him fit again, went back out, and then here's some recent competition pictures. So there's that from Failbridge, and then I just started getting back out. I started him moving up the levels, we qualified for scope. We got our second rounds in, we did the second rounds, and then a couple months before that I moved him up to fox hunter, which was a massive achievement for me, because that was my dream when I got him to do fox hunter, and I never thought he could do it. I didn't think he could, but he can, and he does it easily, and it was just a massive achievement for us doing that. And that's some pictures. This was not our first fox hunter, this was maybe our fourth fox hunter, and yeah, so we did that. And then we, a couple of weeks ago, qualified for nationals, which I was over the moon about, because basically last year obviously I could not go, so I was just so happy. And yeah, and then 3 weeks ago, sorry, we went to Victon, and we did their pony premiere there, and that was loads of fun. It was my first stay away, because I was meant to do a stay away last year, obviously, but McCoy sadly went lame, so I couldn't, so that was all a new experience for me. Obviously, him staying overnight, us staying in a B&B, and yeah, but sadly at that show on grass, because McCoy doesn't really like his back legs being touched. He's alright with me now, but anyone else, he'll literally try and kick them, which is a shame. And he won't have back shoes on with the farrier, because it's not fair for our farrier to get kicked. So we decided not to put studs in, knowing that it was on grass, and it was really slippy, so sadly he slipped. He didn't slip badly. There were some horses that literally slipped onto their bums and like right into the fence, which was awful. And so he just slipped into one of the fences. So obviously that was a refusal, though he did try to do it, but I pushed him for the stride, and he went to go, but he just couldn't. He just lost his footing. So I went round, did the jump again, and retired. But then we did win a class after, which was good. But then we later found my instructor said that he wasn't right, something was wrong with his shoulder, probably from where he slipped. So we got the physio out, we thought that helped, had another lesson, still not right. So we got the vet out, which was last week, and McCoy just has to have a few weeks now hacking, and then hopefully he'll be ready in time for nationals, which I'm so excited for. And I'm so excited for our future, for mine and McCoy's together, because hopefully next year I can start doing some internationals and bigger events, which is very exciting. So yeah, so that is my riding story video. So all the way from when I was about 4 to where I am now to 14. So yes, I hope you enjoyed, guys, and yeah, thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and also check my Instagram account out, which is the same name as my YouTube. Thank you.